We hear the crackling of static, audio waves dormant, fizzling into a dark night. And then a voice can be heard. All broadcast radio alert. All SWAT withdraw. All SWAT withdraw. Winchester now has jurisdiction. Repeat. Winchester now has jurisdiction. Then the radio goes dead. The continual whirling of the alarm that echoes throughout the hospital is still reverberating in all of your ears. Toph, you just heard that message on the radio you took from the police that now lie dead in the ward behind you. You're upon the 15th floor. To your left is Donica, to the right is Tess. You've just wrenched open an elevator, and Siegfried is nowhere to be seen. What do you do?
Toph is just standing there. He's looking at Donica, and he's looking at Tess, and he just sees on their face. He doesn't know what they're thinking, but he sees it. He sees that on their face. He's like, "Get your asses over here." And just really quickly, out of character, do I even know what Winchester means?
That's a very good point, actually. I'm just going to bring up the character sheet because I'm not entirely sure you would, but I would just like to see if you could argue a case that you would have some knowledge of this. To be honest, I don't think so.
I might just try and Google it on my phone.
Honestly,
your phone's dead.
My phone's dead. Yep.
Honestly, I don't think Toph would. That's not his scene. Like anything to do with any kind of a Bobby or anything. He's clear of. So he would have no clue what that means. And he'd probably look at the other two and say, "Either of you know what the hell that means?" And he's sitting there. He's holding these elevator doors open. And I imagine I hear an elevator coming up. Or is it stopped now?
You can hear the trembling of an elevator rising.
Yeah.
You can see the wires obviously moving.
Mm. So he has no clue what that means. He reaches over where this radio is hanging from his leather coat, and he just turns it down a little bit.
Yeah, of course. The alarm is whirling louder and louder like before. You can still hear that there is an uproar going on throughout the entirety of the hospital. Panic. This is not a controlled environment that you're in at all. You remember that the 15th floor was sealed from general public, but all other floors are not.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Donica, you have gone to your phone and you've just remembered that it's dead. What's going through your mind?
He knows that he can appear like other people. He knows that he won't be seen, probably. People tend to not notice him. He's observed this in the 2-3 days, or nights, I should say, that he's been changed, that mostly he can just get away with not being seen. But he's worried about the rest of them and what's going to happen when they come up here and everyone's covered in blood but still alive. That's going to look very suspicious. So he's considering moving into the stairwell and just running for it, but he's going to look at the rest of them and say, "What are you going to do? And what the fuck is Winchester?"
"We don't have time to figure this shit out. You two, get over here." And he looks, and Toph is looking, and he's like, "The fuck's the other one?"
"Wait, stop. I'm going to run back to the room and pick up a gun of some kind."
You have two choices. You have a SA-28 or whatever it's called, or a Glock.
Okay.
Sorry, a rifle or a handgun.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. The SWAT team were using the rifles, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I want to take the handgun then, which would have been the normal guards, and I'm just going to walk up to Tess. I'm going to shoot her in the chest.
What the?
Roll an attack.
Donica!
Okay. How do I do that? I've forgotten.
Wits and firearms.
Okay.
Dexterity plus firearm.
Dexterity plus firearms. So.
Tessa just like stands there and looks down. What the fuck? Like we don't have enough going on.
You're still being hit in the chest, and it really hurts. You don't have the chance to say what the fuck. I think it's gonna because you're surprised.
Great.
I'm just gonna say it throws you against the wall. Blood splat onto the wall.
Super.
You don't fall down, but wow, that hurt.
Yeah, she's just standing there.
Shut up. Shut up. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. You've been shot. You're dead. You're dead. Close your eyes. You are dead.
Fuck. That hurt.
Toph lets go of the elevator, and I think he figures out what Donika's doing. And he comes up to you, Donika, and he's like, that just might work. And he stands out in the middle of the hallway, says, "Get me." And Toph just drops.
So I'm going to say to them, you are dead. Remain dead until you get outside or away from all this insanity. You're dead. And
No, it's great. They'll take us down to the morgue. We can leave from there.
exactly. They won't see me, so I'm going to leave, but I'm going to stay around the hospital and make my way down to the morgue. All right?
Yeah.
But what
Get
a
over here.
Winchester thing.
What?
What-
I mean, who knows? I don't know. You're dead. What are they going to do? You'll read as dead. You don't have a heartbeat. You're dead.
She just kind of nods and then slides down the wall.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to
Can you jump.
brush my...
Sorry, just 1 second. Can
Go
I
ahead.
just intercept? Siegfried, you're in the stairwell. You hear 2 shots are fired.
Well, I had heard many shots fired pretty recently before that, so at this point, yeah, Siegfried's just going to open the door to the 8th floor. Not the 8th floor, just whatever the 14th floor. Sorry, and just try to blend into what he can only imagine is probably chaos when he goes into the hall. He's just going to try to blend into the crowd and pretend he was never there.
And is there a particular ability that you'd be using to do that? Or are you just
Well,
gonna
I
just
look
walk
significantly
wandering?
more human on average. Like I have the whatever the blush of health, so like I look like a person, like I don't look like a vampire.
Yeah.
So I'm just a human looking person. Like I haven't been hit, I haven't been shot, so I have no wounds, no marks, no physical whatever. So I'm just basically gonna act like a person. There's no like really special magic about
Yeah, and you notice that as you emerge into the hallways of the 14th floor, you see it's not too dissimilar to the one above, perhaps less expensive equipment around and that kind of thing. But this isn't particularly... Most people have started the process of evacuating, so it's mostly empty. You see a number of panicked individuals running on the far side of another hallway towards a fire escape. And then,
yeah,
like I
he'll
say-
just run
Oh, sorry.
after and try to join them in the evacuation.
Absolutely. We are going to jump back to the 15th floor then, as Siegfried is running to the stairwell. Sorry, Donica, I cut you off as I was trying to...
No problem at all. I'm going to rub my fingerprints off the gun. I'm going to go over to the guy I took it from. His clothes probably aren't all bloody and ruined, right? Like, not all of them. One of them, I just smashed his head against the wall. So I think one of them has clean clothes.
Yeah, one of them, the initial attack that you did,
Yeah.
like a sneak attack. Yeah, him.
Okay, I'm going to take off my clothes and I'm going to put on his clothes. I'm going to like wrap my clothes up. I don't know, put them in a bin somewhere. No, I'm going to take them with me. That seems dumb to leave them here. Yeah, I'll like put them in a bag or something and take them with me. And I'm basically going to look like that dude. I've rolled my Mask of 1,000 Faces. I got 2 successes, which means I look unlike myself. So I look like a person. I'm going to take his ID badge and then I'm just going to walk down the stairs.
Perfect. And as you're about to, those remaining on the 15th floor, so everyone apart from Siegfried, I'd like to make this roll. I think it's alertness. It's basically working out if you can hear something or not. Because I know there's a word alertness and maybe awareness.
Awareness is for like supernatural stuff.
That's it, yeah. So alertness, please, guys. And it's alertness. Let me see. I don't know if you add anything to it. Perception, I guess. It's a good thing I had a character sheet there.
I have one success, I think.
Okay. Taylor got 1 success also. Donica, you get 4. Taylor, sorry. Toph and Tess, you are both too busy being dead to hear what Donica hears. With 4 successes, Donica, you are able to tell that a helicopter has landed upon the roof of this place. One significantly larger than the one that was pouring its spotlight into the ward you just ran from.
So like an attack helicopter or something is my impression.
Bigger, likely.
Right. As I'm like opening the door to the stairs, I'll be like, they're coming from up there. See you later. And then I'm just going to run down the stairs.
Yeah, you do. And you're just spiraling round and round and round and round and round. And it's going to take both you and Siegfried a while to get to the bottom. So instead, we will remain with our friends pretending to be dead. In stark contrast to the violence and the noise that has been a cacophony around you for the past hour. It's now deathly quiet. But it doesn't escape either of your senses that there are a number of footsteps coming down the stairway. Is there anything you want to do? Scratch your nose? Or anything before they arrive?
Tess cracks one eye open just to look at Toph. And then she's been breathing every now and then out of habit. And then she reminds herself to stop breathing. And just, okay. And pretends to be dead.
And Toph, anything before they arrive?
No. He would just do what he's been doing for quite a while. Be dead. Actually, it's a role reversal. He's been pretending to be alive for so long that now he's actually could be his true self.
You hear the door open, but not wide enough for someone to walk in. You hear a ding, 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 as something metal lands on the floor near you. Then there is a wall of kinetic energy that passes down the corridor as some type of flashbang erupts down the corridor. I would like both Tess and Toph, you sound like a double act already, to make me, it would be, I suppose, like stamina, I guess? Or anything you'd argue that would help you more to resist such energies?
Did I argue that I'm trying to keep my wits about me?
No.
Oh, stamina's not good for me. Can I add? Is there anything to add to it?
I really don't know. I'm just trying to work it out, to be honest. Let me see.
Maybe like alertness to like pick the right moment to like turn to the side or something.
Yeah, or athletics.
Or
just
stealth.
sit there and take.
Yeah. Okay. Use alertness, athletics. Alertness or athletics, I guess. Not stealth. Either one of those two.
I've got 4 rolls over 6 or higher.
Oh, nice. You've done this
Welcome.
before.
Ruha. Yes.
Yeah.
I get 1.
Okay, so Toph, you are still and you barely seem affected by this. Tess, however, you have never had a flashbang thrown at you in your entire life, and it isn't a pleasant experience. While your eyes are closed, there is this nauseating pulse of energy that just explodes into the room. Your hearing is super sensitive, so this to you is like standing next to, like standing in the Tower of Big Ben when it goes off. Like, it is overwhelming, and you are not able to fully play dead, as all of the lights seem to be knocked out as well, and you are plunged in the darkness. And then you see green lights emerge from the doorway in place of eyes. A soldier wearing some form of gas mask with thermal imaging stalks into the room, a weapon in hand. Toph, you don't have to do this because you did well and you resisted whatever the flashbang was going to do for you. Tess, you need to do like a bluff or a performance to try and maintain the fact that you're not alive.
Okay. Manipulation and stealth,
Sure.
or subterfuge, either way.
Stealth.
Oh, Lord, please let these dice roll well. Oh, I lost one. Not counting the one I lost, I have 4 successes.
Do you want to re-roll the one you lost?
Yeah. 5 successes.
Then that's okay. The individual is followed by another that looks entirely identical. And though your eyes are closed, I'll describe them anyway. Essentially, these soldiers they appear to be wearing like combat armor of some description made of a peculiar looking alloy. Over their backs, they have what looks to be like a harpoon gun and all sorts of different utilities upon their belts, including grenades, as you just found out. And 2 of them begin to stalk down the corridor. One of their boots stops, like right where your head is, Tess. They don't appear to be making a move, and they're both just standing there as if waiting, maybe for orders, maybe to sense movement. You don't know. Siegfried. You reach the 6th floor. And in the stairway, in your way, there is an altercation occurring. You see 2 civilians on their knees. And there is a security man there, holding a weapon and pointing it at them. You can hear his cries echoing up the concrete stairway. You need to freeze. You need to stay on your knees now. Keep your hands where I can see them. And protesting but not moving, the 2 civilians are saying, "We haven't done anything wrong. We need to get out of here. Something's happening. There's an attack happening right now. We need to go." And clearly the man in authority has lost his cool. And is pointing the gun at people he suspects to be responsible. What do you do?
So Siegfried's first point of action would be to try to look and see if he can he see these people clearly, these 2 people that this security guard is holding up. If not, he's going to try to get to where he can see them to make sure that they're not friends of his.
You can see them, and they just look like two ordinary civilians. Maybe just you can see that one of them is wearing a patient's gown, the other not. So maybe a visitor, maybe. Actually, no, it'd be a member of staff. There wouldn't be visitors at this time of night.
Hmm.
What do you do?
Siegfried thinks for a moment about trying to interject, and see if he can help these people. But at the same time, he trusts, hopefully, that some due process will be dealt here by the security guard, and that he won't shoot them randomly, and that their innocence will be proven by their own means. So if he can, he will shuffle past the confrontation, try to go around if there's any room. I don't know. Is there room, or would he have to cross through them to go?
You're basically walking through the aim of the point of sight of the gun, essentially. And as you're sort of standing, the guy with the gun looks up and goes, "Who are you? There should be no one above."
Are there any people behind me coming down?
No, it seems like
you're the last one.
Yeah.
Siegfried kind of like just puts his hands up, just a hands up, don't shoot motion. I was up. I was here on an emergency visit. I'm just trying to get down.
And he says, "There should be no one on the floor above us." Step into full sight where I can see you. And he's pointing the gun at you now.
Siegfried will kind of gulp and then kind of like nod over to the other two people and just kind of like give them a nod, like, go on. And he'll just kind of step forward into a full view of this person with his hands up.
Get on your knees now. Hands on your head. Come on!
Yeah, God, I'm using so many points. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use a blood point to presence.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. It's dangerous right now. But I don't know any reason that it would be dangerous, so I'm not gonna act on that. So yeah, I will use a presence. And just say, I've been hearing gunshots. We need everybody to at least get to safety. Then we can sort out. If you think I'm a suspect, I'll go with you. But we all need to get down to the bottom now. As he uses presence.
And I can't remember. Is there anything that he has to roll to resist, or does it just work on mortals? I don't remember.
I roll my dice.
Yeah, I believe he can use his willpower to resist it.
That's correct. Yes. Okay. Yes. So I just said
he can use willpower to resist it for a round, and then after that, it'll affect him. So he can only temporarily hold it off.
Okay.
Alrighty. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's already 5 successes, and I have 3 more dice to roll. So.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. He's
yeah, that's 8 successes.
8 successes. And the words are about to come out of your mouth as to what you say when, Donica, you land on the floor just above what's happening, and you see just through the gap, you know, where you can see like through the railings over, you can just see through the gap that someone's pointing a gun at Siegfried and 2 other people.
Okay. I'm going to be running down the stairs. I'm going to try and look as panicked as I can. Actually, I'm going to fire the gun behind me that I have. Oh, God! I'm just going to run down the stairs as quick as I can, as if I'm being shot at.
The security guard wheels his gun to face the stairs that you're coming down.
They're coming! They're coming! Get the fuck out of here! They're coming!
He fires.
Shooting me?
Yes.
I'm gonna just start running at that point.
Okay, that's 2 successes.
And what do I roll?
So it's your God, you can
Dexterity
tell me
or stamina, or am I absorbing or am I dodging? I can't remember.
Well, it's up to you. You can use either, can't you? So you can use.
I don't remember what I'm. It's been so long since I played.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking at Jeff. He knows the rules.
Yeah, Jeff, how do we do it?
I don't actually know weapon
No, it's his-
defense off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
so it's just his, because it's generally speaking, it would be you involved in a combat. So you'd be using your melee or whatever, and he'd be using firearms. So I'm just going to say, just use your melee for now,
Okay.
or whatever you use. Brawl.
Could I do like a dexterity awareness to try and dodge out of the way or something like that
Yes.
instead?
That sounds amazing.
Cool. Let me just check what that is. Okay. 1 success.
So the bullet will hit you, but because it's halved anyway, like it's nothing.
Right.
Like it just clips you on the shoulder as you dash down at him. And are you going to just still run down the stairs?
No, I'm going to act like he's killed me. I'm just going to fall onto the ground.
And he goes, fuck, 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 as he looks down and he sees just this really ugly dude.
I'm going to be twitching.
Oh, fucking God. The 2 civilians scream and make a run for it. And like the dude is just pointing the gun at you, Donica, and he's ignoring Siegfried and he's ignoring the other 2 who are running away.
Good.
Are there? Siegfried's gonna do like a quick scan, and see, how visible that he would be to like other people. Like, are they at a position like how the stairwell is constructed that people could see him up from lower? Because if it's only him and the security guard, he'll probably do something here. But if he's gonna like grab attention, then he might not.
You know that obviously the people that are running away are like really close to you. You can't tell if there is anyone further down the stairs or not as of yet. But the dude holding the gun over Donica is kind of looking a bit panicked, and he's going to his radio, which is on his lapel thing here.
If he's
Sorry, go
if
ahead.
he's doing that, is he like
I think
standing over me? Because if he's doing that, I'm just going to like reach up and grab him.
Well, let me just say this one thing because it might affect your decision. He goes as if he's about to report it, then stops and moves the gun to point at your head.
It's scumbag.
Too much paperwork, man. You can get away with this.
Monster.
Welcome to the world of darkness.
this is potentially terrible, but I think Siegfried would do it. So if this is bad, then it's gonna be bad.
Sure.
I'm gonna bite him.
Okay. Yeah. Just do a brawl or whatever. Brawl or melee. No, melee. I need to remember melee is weapons, isn't it? Brawl is your fists. So
Yep.
Brawl and strength to grab him, please.
Isn't it Dex for bites?
Oh God, is it? Because I know grabbing people is strength.
Dex. I think it's Dex and
Because it
That's
counts
fine.
as just like an attack.
Sure.
Ooh, that's 2 successes.
Oh yeah, shit. What do you do to him?
I will bite and feed to stun him.
Yeah, you hear. I mean, all throughout this time, you've been having this as the adrenaline is rushing, but that heartbeat gets quicker and quicker as you sate your ever-growing thirst. And Donica, you sort of open your eyes and look, and Siegfried is draining this man, not to death, I'm guessing, but to stun at least, to put him into that euphoric state. and he slowly sinks to the floor. And as he sinks to the floor, we're back to the 15th floor. And Toff, you can sense these two that are near you. Tess, that boot is like right next to your face. And then slowly, they begin to move down the corridor again. You can hear a as one of them appears to be programming something on his person. What are you both going to do? We'll start with Tess, that boot next to your face.
I think she stepped away for a second.
Oh, she did, didn't she? Sorry, my bad. So in that case, Toff, what are you doing?
So I'm probably about. I'm thinking I'm just a little bit further down the hallway from where Tess was, so again, like Tess, Toss eyes are pretty much closed, but he might sneak a peek. Just let his eye open up just a little bit so he can kind of see maybe what the guy's doing.
Yeah, he appears to be, one of them is holding his weapon up to his eye, aiming down the corridor. The other one is almost sort of like taking half cover behind him and looking at some kind of device in his hand.
All right.
Making a beeping sound.
Now, he's giving cover down to where the room was?
Yeah, they're currently facing the room.
Yeah. Okay.
The ward.
Toff's just going to sit tight and wait. He's not going to react unless he needs to. He thinks that he's actually pretty impressed by these newly embraced coming up with this plan. So it's probably one of the best, probably the only good idea they've had this whole time. Besides the closed caption TV stuff.
Yeah, and to your amazement and joy, you see both of them begin to enter the ward and start looking around.
Perfect. Yeah.
Then another two enter into the corridor, followed by another two. They all look identical, those green eyes, making the total soldiers around you now 6. You can see on each of their arms, they have this sort of emblazoned symbol, this kind of coat of arms almost, it looks like, with a W. You guess meaning Winchester. Tess, just to catch you up, those two that had stopped next to you, well, they moved on into the ward, and 4 more soldiers have appeared into this corridor now where you are. They all appear to be investigating the site of the fight that went down in the ward. What's running through your mind?
Tess can hear the footsteps and is mentally reminding herself, just don't move, don't breathe, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. And just listening and hoping that they're going to move on.
You can feel the draft as the door opens again, and another figure enters the corridor. Toff, if you have your eye open just a tiny bit in that initial peek that you gave, you would see that this individual walks into into where you are, and you can see that he's dressed basically the same as all the others, but he has several embroidered stripes on his arm, denoting his superior rank. And he brings a radio to his. Actually, no, he didn't. He won't, because he didn't actually have a radio inside. So you just hear a. We need to be certain. We need to ensure that none of their kind remain. If they are still here, they are a danger. Rig the sprinkler system. Sir. See 2 of them exit up the stairs they just came from. Yeah, and there's 4 of them in that ward, and the one in charge now.
I don't know if this is a good idea. Toph, when he hears that, he kind of senses what that's going to mean. And he coughs a bit and rolls a bit to his side. And really quickly, because it's been a while since we played. No, trust me, guys. Come on.
Those of you watching, the chat's exploding with "No, don't do it." Just letting you know. Just letting you watching know.
Tess, do you remember the name you gave down at the front desk when you said that you were coming up to visit?
Like Alice Smith or something.
Alice. I'm gonna go with Alice Smith because I can't remember
I think it was
either.
Alice, actually.
Yeah.
I think it was Alice.
And he goes, and he grabs at where he was shot because it's bleeding, and he's like, Alice, are you okay? And he's just going to look, and is there enough light that he would see Tess?
You can basically see in the dark, I think, as a vampire.
I know, but would a human be able to see in the dark, or is there not enough?
No, there wouldn't be enough light.
Oh,
What you could really see, if you were a human being, all you would really see are those green eyes.
right. So he said, and once he sees the green eyes, he goes, "What the fuck?"
They whirl around all now in the room that they just come in from, and you can see laser sights like aiming at you, and you hear, "Do we have a target?"
And where did you shoot me, Donica?
Should have been in the mouth.
Should have been in the mouth.
In the chest, I thought.
Yeah, so it's in the chest. So that's where he's grabbing at his chest. And he goes, "No, I'm here with my sister. We're visiting." And I got to look pretty bad off. I got this wound at my chest that I'm gripping. I got blood on my hands. He goes, "Something attacked us. Where's my sister?"
2 of them sort of as quick as you like, sort of move in with a discipline that would take years to train into someone. 2 of them just pour through the door. They kneel, and then that one holding the device steps through the door, half out cover, and holds the device out like that. And you can see there's almost kind of like this UV light, almost like it's scanning the corridor. Do we have confirmation?
UV light.
It looks like UV light. Do we have a crawler? One of them says.
The fuck's a crawler? That's exactly what I was going to say. That. What the fuck's a crawler?
They are basically, you can see one light turn on, then another, and then another, and another, on a long line up this device that he's holding in his hand.
Oh shit.
Do you want to do anything?
So there's no reaction to me having been shot in the chest.
They don't give a fuck.
Okay. They don't give a fuck. In that case, with blurring speed, Toph is going to launch himself off of the floor and down the stairway.
It's a crawler, open fire!
Yeah.
And 2 automatic rifles erupt at you as you go to the doorway.
Okay.
Cool. And I'm just going to make 2 attacks. So essentially your melee defense or whatever it is against theirs.
Melee. So I'll use melee.
Sorry, not melee, brawl, whatever it is that you use.
Oh, that's even better.
Yep.
And Toph, it was so fun having you around for a session.
It was. All right, that's 8, 9, 10. 6, 2, 1, 1. So I got 4 over 6.
So how many? 4 or 6? Sorry. So you've got
I got a
4
6 and
successes.
8. Yeah, 4 successes.
So the majority of them miss you, but I'm afraid to say that that is still going to be 4 confirmed hits. And as these shots are fired, Tess, you see this orange sort of burst erupting from the muzzle of these guns. You don't know what these are, maybe, I don't know. But Toph, maybe you've seen enough Call of Duty to understand what an incendiary round is, leaving fiery trails as these bullets collide into you, ignoring your vampiric resistance. That is going to be 3, 4 on your thing, on your tally.
So I'm wounded.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the force of it spins you. You're able to get into the stairwell, but I'm going to say you're basically just going to topple over the railing.
Oh, so, yeah, that's what I was going to do anyways.
Okay, so you just vanish, and they all pour after you. And Toph, you're sort of falling, and there's like this as a hail of bullets it basically explodes at you down the stairway. We have confirmed crawler. We have confirmed crawler. Tess, you hear on one of the remaining ones' radio. One of them is still there. It appears to be the leader who has not moved. We're going to cut back to Siegfried and Donica. A hail of fire explodes down the stairway. And then you see... you see Toph plunging down the stairwell. Are you going to try and stop yourself, Toph?
I believe what Toph would do is every once in a while he'd go ping pong, and he'd ping pong off a couple of rails, but you know he's hurting right now. I mean, those bullets burned. You know, he's never really experienced that. So yeah, he's going to try to slow his descent, but he wants to get as far away from those guys as possible.
And to be honest, I'm not sure Donica or... Oh no, you're vampires. Of course you'd have time to react. Is there anything you want to do if you sort of like get a glimpse of him falling down the stairs towards you?
There has to be another stairway, right? There's no way there's one emergency staircase in the hospital.
Yeah, there's 4.
Okay, I'm going to run on the floor, into the floor, and find the other... like, I can hear, like... I'm just like... like, there's no fucking way I'm standing here, so I'm just going to, like, run into the hospital, find another staircase that I can go down. That's my intent, anyway.
Siegfried?
Yeah, so Siegfried's just going to quick lick his fingers and slap it across the guy's neck. The security officer who he had just bit. He followed Donica, trying to get to anywhere other than this place.
So, Toph, I would like you, and Lionel, you can argue what you're using to stop yourself from continuing to fall.
Well, one of the great things about being a Bruja is they have the discipline of celerity, so they're used to moving at fast speeds. Even though he's hurting, I think what he would do is he would just count the floors as he's falling, thump, thump, thump. And maybe when he gets about 5 or 6 floors down, he would just try to grab one of these rails so he could pull himself up. And he's hurting, but then he's going to kind of do something similar to what Donica said. He wants to get out of this stairway and maybe into another.
Amazing. I really love that description. I'm just going to say you can do it. Yeah, you just pull yourself in on the 6th floor, and you just see still these flaming trails of incendiary rounds pouring after you.
Yeah. He's not waiting. He's not taking any pictures. He smashes through a door, and he's going to do it with as much speed. I'm going to actually use one of my blood points to actually go twice as fast. So what it would do mechanically, it allows me to take 2 actions regularly. So I'm just going to go twice as fast. I'm just going to be a blur zipping across this hall to another stairway. And I'm just like, you know, with my body is just where he shot me, Donica shot me, is probably already starting to heal. But where those other bullets ripped through my clothing, those aren't. They're like burning. So yeah.
Amazing. Meanwhile, on the 15th floor, the remaining officer is standing there, sort of looking at the doorway. And you can see those green eyes turn across the corridor again. Then he looks down to the device that was dropped. And he goes, it looks like he's about to pick it up. Tess, are you still remaining there?
Do I have any sense of what that device is?
No.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely just 100% playing dead. Until until such time as it seems like she is in imminent danger as opposed to highly probable danger, she is going to play dead.
Sure.
Oh god.
And
This is terrible.
you hear another and the officer says, we're going to need a cleanup crew here. And he goes, how are we on those sprinklers? Prime, sir. Ready when you are. He gives one last look to the hallway. Pulls out his gun, aims it down the corridor, and says, sorry, no, he'll aim it at the ward. And he will then say, okay, trigger them. The sprinklers explode into life above you. And what feels like sulfuric acid is pouring across all of the bodies in this thing. Only it's not acid, it is water blessed and sanctified to rid the world of your
Does
kind.
that work on me?
Does it work on you? You tell me. Do you have something that tells me that holy water doesn't work on you?
I don't remember.
I thought you meant by saying that you have something that makes you immune to it.
I don't know. Never mind.
Okay. Then I'm afraid you're going to take some just straight up damage.
Is it just me and him?
Yes. So if you wouldn't mind taking a thing on one of your tallies, and that's going to go on one each round, essentially. It's like blisteringly hot. It's like boiling water's just been thrown on you. It is agonizing.
Okay, and by my best understanding, everybody else went down the stairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're all following after Toph, and it's just him?
From what you can see, he's the only one in the corridor. You can't see around corners.
But I heard them going down the stairs. I don't hear any other movement in the stairwell, right?
No.
Okay, then I'm up and I'm in the stairwell, and I would like to make an attempt to pull his night vision goggles off as I move.
Okay, that is going to be a grapple, so that's going to be your brawl and strength, please.
Shoot. This is not Tessa's strong suit. Strength and brawl. Okay. So that's 3 successes and one of them's a 10. I don't know if that matters.
Okay. Okay. You just succeed. You lunge forward and you grab hold of those goggles and you basically rip them away. But all of a sudden, his gloved hand, goes onto your wrist and you're now both grappled. and you can see his eyes, but he's in pitch black right now.
That's fine. I'm going to dominate him.
Okay, not before he gets his attack though. From nowhere, he's basically going to try and fire his gun from his hip into your stomach, essentially. So let's see, firearms and dex. Okay, he just goes bam, bam, and he just fires. Oh no, you got to oppose, haven't you? I'm sorry. Do you want to oppose for me? Whatever.
Yes. What do I roll for that one?
Whatever attack, melee attack thing or brawl attack.
Dex.
Yeah, dex and brawl will be fine. We should really be doing this at the same time. I just keep forgetting.
Oh. Okay, that one is 4 successes.
Oh, okay. So he hits you, but it's not like anything's actually happened to you, and it doesn't appear like he has incendiary rounds in this particular pistol that he's carrying. Maybe the rifle over his back, though. So yeah, feel free, dominate. How does that work again?
Okay. I'm trying. After having leveled up, I've got up to 3 dots in it, so I'm trying to figure out. And they're complicated. I'm trying to figure out which one is the best one.
Okay.
I think it'll be the Forgetful Mind.
Oh yes, okay.
So I'm gonna lock. First off, I'm like moving myself partway into the stairwell, so I'm not taking any damage because he was standing right at that door.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And I'm going to have direct eye contact and give him a false memory.
Okay.
I'll have to roll wits and subterfuge.
Yep, and he gets
against his current willpower points.
Yeah, his willpower. Excellent. That's what I thought it was. Okay.
Oh, excellent. Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me roll that first. Four.
You get
3,
8
so
successes.
7. If I get 1. Okay. So I've only got 3 successes.
It does not succeed. You look into his eyes and you try to manipulate his mind, but unlike anything or anyone you've met so far, he does not appear to be affected whatsoever. And you can almost see a smile when someone smiles with their eyes as he goes to push away and continue the fight. We cut away back down the stairs. Donica and Siegfried, you are now in a new stairwell as you are charging down, and there is a sudden blur as Toff catches up to you with ease, with celerity, and all of a sudden, Toff, you're there with them. What's going on?
The sprinklers aren't in the stairwells, are they?
No, not in this one. It seems like they've isolated.
Okay. My plan is to just run down to the bottom level and then down into like the basement car park and find a sewer grate and climb in there.
Yeah, and weirdly there is one of those. So spot on. Anything else that you would like to do? Siegfried at all?
Siegfried's in full follow mode right now. He's just wants to get out of here and is going to trust that Donica is going to get them where they need to go.
And Toff?
Yeah, Toff is running along with them. Yeah, we got to get out of here. I mean, I'd be totally metagaming if I knew what was happening with Tess up top. I'm thinking that I've drawn everybody away.
No, you're absolutely right. You believe that you've done your job.
I was counting the separate guns that were firing at me, and I counted them all 6. Maybe I made a mistake and thought there were 7.
No, it's all good. So yeah, it isn't long before you all reach the basement, and you see that there's actually kind of like a laundry section in this. Lots and lots of industrial laundry, row upon row of machines whirring. And you're able to pass through there. It's completely deserted now. And yeah, you go into sort of like another fire escape, and you see that there is a twirling staircase made of corrugated iron, which you're able to go down into. And you see that one way is a sewage access, and the other way is a sort of a fire escape door that would lead you up and then out of the hospital from the basement level. To which do you pick?
So Toph, he's not feeling good. He's pissed. He's angry that he's even here. He just looks at the other two and he says, "Fucking way. What's the fucking way out of this place? I don't come to hospitals."
Down as far as we can go, into the dirt. And like, there's like an urge in Donica beyond just like that being a good idea, that he like actually wants to be like as dark and as grim and as like miserable under the earth as he can get. Doesn't sound gross to him. It might sound gross to others, but he really wants to be in the darkness. And so he's just like looking for a way, like a sewer grate or any sort of way that he can get under.
Yeah. Toph is going to look to Siegfried, though. I don't know if I necessarily trust this guy. He was saying play dead. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Didn't play out so well.
Yeah, there should be a way out if we go through that way. We just need to get out of here.
What about Tess?
If that's the quietest and safest.
You would kind of Toph would at that point maybe remember Tess. He looks at the two of you and he says, "Don't worry about her. I got those bastards chasing me. I'll tell you about it when we get out of this fucking place."
All right.
Okay, yeah.
And on that, I've got the rest of those bastards chasing me wherever it is. We cut back to the 15th floor. The Winchester enforcement officer is staring you down. When you tried to dominate him, essentially, he basically gave you a shove, which I'm guessing is the thing that stopped him from being dominated or whatever. But he clearly has had some kind of conditioning, very good conditioning. And he says, "Been waiting years to face one of your kind. Not going to make this quick." And he looks at his gun and he throws it away. And from his wrist, he pulls. There is a hook that he pulls from his gauntlet, and then from this one, he pulls what appears to be a wooden stake. And he advances towards you, and he's going to make his attack. Need more d10s. Okay. So can you make your melee, so whatever it is, Taylor, please? Dex and
I can sure try.
brawl. Sure.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Dex and brawl. Okay.
Whatever's better.
Come on, little dice. Come back. Okay. That is 4 successes.
Okay, well, he got 5, so one of those connects and gives you another mark on your tally as this sort of sickle-like hook rakes across your skin. It looked like he was going to try and drag you towards him to then pull you into the stake. A very peculiar fighting style, but you're able to just manage to pull yourself out from it. What are you doing, Tess, as this man tries to murder you?
So, first question, I'm assuming he has no skin visible.
No skin apart from the eyes. You pulled his goggles sort of up onto his head.
Yeah. I'm going over the stairwell. I'm out of here. I'm dropping down at least 5 floors before trying to catch myself.
Yeah, you sort of just hurl yourself back, and the last thing
Yeah.
you see are those eyes sort of fixed with yours as you just tumble down into the darkness of this stairwell now. As you're falling, however, you see a number of those Winchester security force still going down the staircase, and they're sort of halfway down.
Yeah, no, I will just go with, I mean, I'm not stopping near them. I'm not stopping within 3 floors of them, so I'm going to see if I can get down to, like, the first or the second floor and catch and just not die when I hit the
They're on
bottom.
the 8th floor
They're on
currently.
8.
They're just about to get into the 6th. They couldn't keep up with Toph with celerity,
No, of
but
course they couldn't.
they're still fast.
I'm aiming for the second floor.
Okay, that's okay. Why don't you aim for one above the second floor? Because if you're giving yourself a few more chances to grab onto something. That's all
Oh,
I'm saying.
okay, yeah, then I should do, like,
I shouldn't
4th.
I shouldn't have told you that, should I?
Probably
shouldn't
not.
have told you
Too late
that.
now.
Too late. All right.
We're all rooting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
I'm
It's all
rooting
good.
for you too. Okay.
I don't want to die. I don't want to be a vampire pancake.
Which one was it?
4.
Okay. Well, the fall wouldn't kill you, but okay. So, in that case, let's see if there's dexterity and whatever you want to argue. I would say, because
I mean, it's
don't know
probably
what the-
athletics.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Okay.
This is fucking nuts.
This is absolutely insane.
No, isn't this really fun, guys? I mean, come on.
Only 2 successes.
So I'm going to say that you catch the 4th floor railing, but it isn't elegantly, and you go like that, and you just. I'm going to say you take a point. You take half of it, so you get another 1 on your tally. I'm afraid, just from the impact. I'm afraid, just because it hurts.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you're there, and you notice that one of these green eyes peer over and look.
Okay, I am from the 4th floor. I'm dropping down to about the 2nd and catching now that I'm slow.
A bullet blazing as an
jeez.
incendiary animal just misses where you were. And you're on the second.
If they're shooting, I'm all the way down at the 1st floor and I'm running outside.
Yeah,
I'm just
like,
yeah. I'm out the door.
Yeah. You get to the bottom and you see that there is that doorway that oh no, you're still in the same one. You didn't cross into a different one. Shit.
Nope.
So there is a fire escape at the bottom of this one. And you can see another corridor leading to basement access. So fire escape or basement, up to you.
And oh god. I think Tess would be running for outside for freedom.
Outside? Is that your decision?
Oh, I think it's a terrible choice. I don't know. I don't think it would occur to her to go to the basement. I think she would feel trapped. So she's going outside. Yeah, fire escape.
Okay, you explode out of the fire escape. There's still like bullets raining down the stairwell, and you are just outrunning the cold night air. Hits your face, and you're just sprinting across like this long concrete kind of. You're on the side of the hospital, which wouldn't be the street-facing side, so like where there would be car parks and trucks and that kind of thing, but it's completely open. There's no cover whatsoever. You see that there's some kind of perimeter surrounding the hospital, and as you're running, you see that there are a number of other people just sprinting as fast as they can away from the hospital, and then all of a sudden, boom! Something hits your face. It's a blanket. people who are waiting for people to get outside are basically grabbing people, putting blankets around them, and ushering them away. And all of a sudden, you are swept into a crowd of people.
Yes, yes, I am swept into the crowd. Oh God.
And on the 15th floor, there is one member of Winchester that's still there, just looking out of a window now. Pulls down his goggles. They go green. It's the sewer. It is dark. It is horrible. And it smells. And we'll see what happens in a moment after we take a short break. Before we do, I'm just going to say welcome to Lloyd from YardDM, Lionel from Two Guys, T and D&D, Jeff from Encounter Balance, and Taylor from Man's a Nerd. Go grab yourself a drink, guys. We'll be back in 5.
It happens,
Jesus
Rob.
Christ, dude. It somehow managed to be even worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Worse. That was exciting.
That was really fun.
Oh, it was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But
That is exactly
mess.
how a Bruja would manage a situation like that. Totally
Definitely.
not follow the plan.
Yeah, thanks.
actually, so this is my thought. My thought was because I get the blush of health, so I could make myself look human enough that if I could convince these guys that I was wounded in the attack up here, but they weren't buying it.
Well,
And then
Someone ratted us out.
The issue with that is that there aren't actually any civilians that were supposed to be up there. So the only way that you could be on the 15th floor is if you were involved. Because it was,
Why
it
would
was
they
locked
send?
and no
Why
one
would
was
they send
allowed
the
to be
vampire
there.
squad? Why would they send the supernatural squad?
Yeah.
There had been an attack, right?
Well,
Natural response to send like an anti-terrorist team. So someone had to
Well,
rat us out.
remember, the guy that you guys killed,
Yeah.
was in touch with the
Whoa, whoa,
vampire.
whoa,
We
whoa,
know
we're
for
a
sure
team.
that he had
We're a team, Siegfried. We're a
like
team.
getting vampire blood.
Yep. So obviously we rang that dude, and he like got in contact with the fucking Inquisition or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody ratted us out.
All right. Well, we got to
Yeah,
tell
it's
what's
either
his
I mean,
face.
It's either him
Like,
or
it
the
just
guy
has
who
to be
thought
that guy,
of
right?
this in the first place. Gisburn,
His brain.
Mr. G.
Yeah, Mr. G.
Mr.
Gisborne.
G.
It was all a plan.
We got to talk to that guy and see what the hell's going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing was I couldn't pretend like I could see because it was pitch dark.
Mm.
The minute I start pretending like I can see, I've already given myself away. Poor
Like-
Rob wasn't throwing me a bone and saying there's like those lights, those emergency lights, or no emergency lights, nothing.
If that had been a SWAT team, we would have been out of there. It would have been such a good plan.
Yeah. No, that's good. I
Yeah,
like
it would've
that. I
been-
like that we can't
It
like
was a great plan. It was a good plan.
because we didn't know. I didn't know what Winchester was. Now we know. We have here Winchester on the radio. We know to make ourselves scarce.
So
So it is like Sam and Dean Winchester from the Supernatural show.
Right.
yeah,
We're
I
still
hadn't
gonna get the
actually-
job
I
done.
hadn't
We
actually
just don't
thought
do
of
it
that,
very
no.
I've
efficiently.
never seen that.
You gotta check that show out, man.
I've seen Supernatural. Like I like Supernatural, but that isn't. I didn't make that connection until right now. So that's a nice little add-on, I guess. They're named after a rifle, the Winchester rifle, so which is features in Shaun of the Dead and that kind of thing. Not that they're based off that either. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go to the sewer now. The gentle drip of silage could be heard as for the first time we enter the sewers. It's a bit of a tradition in vampire games, as much as I'm aware anyway. And the three of you are stood there and it is deathly quiet. What do you want to do?
Yeah, so Siegfried's got his shirt like pulled up over his nose, just and like his hand, just trying to like stave himself off from just the miserable stench of this place. It's probably even worse to him as a vampire and specifically as a Toreador. He's just trying to guard himself from it. He's gonna look over to the other two and break the still. Just say, do I try to get in touch with her? Do I if they have her and I text her, then they can try to find us. But if she got out, we need to get in touch.
No, we need to move. We need to get safe, and then we can figure that out. The stench doesn't bother Donica at all. Weirdly, he like, and like there is a bad smell, but he can also like smell and like sense like rats, lots of rats and lots of insects, and he gets this like impression of just like millions of footsteps that he can hear in this place, which is not what he was expecting.
Toph just looks at Siegfried with his shirt pulled up over his nose. He shakes his head, doesn't say a word, and just walks past him. And he's just looking up, maybe counting the ladders that lead up to the manholes.
We need to be sure that if we get out of here, we are not coming up within the area of the hospital. We're going to need to move a long way. Are there any rats, Rob?
There are plenty. As you say, you hear many
So there's a
tiny pitter-patterings.
really weird thing that happens where he's like talking to Toph and he's like, we need to get out of here. And he's like looking, and then there's like a gung, 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 gung. And you just like hear a heartbeat, and he like locks eyes with a rat. and he just like has this impression that he can communicate with it. I don't know where it come from. He says, "Oi," but he actually makes rat noises. Like he makes these weird little squeaks and like noises. How his human mouth does that is unclear. But he like looks at it and goes, "Oi."
So there's a moment that passes where your eyes are just locked with the jet black eyes of this big ass sewer rat. Like it's a chunky rat. It's just sat there looking at you, and then it goes, and it sort of makes like a squeaky noise.
Listen. How does somebody my size get out of here?
It makes like a. Is this a power you have, Lloyd, or are you just?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I have animalism, so I can speak to animals if I lock eyes with them.
Okay, I just didn't know if you decided. I'm just going to ask for connections.
It works easier with like very smart creatures, but it does work with like rats and stuff like that. It wouldn't work with insects or fish.
Rats are actually very smart, so
yes,
like fish. Become fucking Aquaman. Okay. Yeah, the rat sort of like looks at you, turns around as if to go, and then looks at you again, as if like, come on.
Listen, we need to be far away from this place upstairs. Where's the river? Where is the river in relation to the hospital, Rob?
So you're actually in central London where UCL is, so it isn't actually that far to get to the Thames.
Okay.
However, there isn't a great reputation, shall we say, about the silage going in that direction, shall we say?
Sure, of course. But like Donick would know about London, like that would be outside of the area, like the catchment area for the hospital, right?
Yes,
if we come up near the river.
Easily.
Yeah. So then I will say, bring us to the river.
And without another squeak, it begins to run sort of along sort of like a narrow walkway. There's these round, ancient Victorian sewers that you're walking through.
So he'll turn for a second to look at the other two and just like, because this whole conversation that he's had with the rat was like he didn't say anything. And he would just look at the other two and say, I know this sounds insane, but we're going to have to follow this rat.
Siegfried nods, but his eyes betray the complete, like, oh god, this guy is also crazy. But there's not much choice here. It's wander off alone or wander off with this rat and his new friend, so...
Yeah, maybe Donica left some part of himself in the hospital and never returned. Or maybe, he has got like this kind of kinship. Tough, maybe not so surprised. Maybe you would have seen a vampire communicate to animals in such a way before. That's up to you if you've seen that or not.
Yeah, I would say that he probably has a working knowledge of what the other clans could potentially do. So he's not surprised by that. That Donica has so quickly mastered it. Maybe that would be the surprise that Toph has. And he probably would be apparent on his face. I'm not sure if Donica would misread it as maybe something else. Just surprised that he can talk to a rat, but actually the surprise is that you can do it so quickly. And he's like, lead the way.
Yeah, and on that point, actually, it is really peculiar to you that these new sires have, found these gifts so quickly. A lot of the time, a new kindred would spend night upon night searching in the darkness for such talents, yet these individuals, they seem well suited, like you, to this lifestyle. And you, following Donica's new friend, disappear into the darkness of the sewer. Tess, a warm drink is placed into your hands. You are sat at the back of an open ambulance, and you've been told to sit there with your emergency blanket and wait to be seen. Lots of people are being seen. You are noticing that there are an alarming amount of people being wheeled out of the hospital from the 15th floor, it would seem.
Yeah, so Tess has this blanket, and is it one of those kind of like foil ones, or yeah? And she has it drawn very tightly around herself, conscious of not only the massive bullet hole that Donica put there, but also the wounds from the interactions with whoever that guy was on the 15th floor, and her like slightly dislocated shoulder from the fall. And she's going to disappear. I mean, wait till people are kind of distracted and just slip away. She has no interest in someone trying to see her and discovering that she is gravely wounded and ought to be dead and is dead. That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, and you see like an ambulance volunteer person, sort of like get there, but almost too late, and goes, "Hey," as you're sort of like disappearing into the darkness, almost.
Nope, I just kind of walk away.
Yeah, and yeah, you disappear. Panic is still pouring through your body. Adrenaline is still a thing that affects vampires. I've decided.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It makes sense.
Yeah, and yeah, what are you going to do?
Is the perimeter... Where did we leave the car? Because I believe I had the car keys.
You actually left it on this side. You went round the back. I remember.
We did, and we'd parked it a couple blocks away.
Yeah.
So Tessa's gonna go and she's just gonna sit in the car for a little bit and just wait and see if the others come.
Yeah, so you slam the door and the air freshener that dangles from the rear side mirror shakes as the door is closed. And there's just quiet, and you're in your little car, your shitty little car that barely gets you from A to B. And actually, no, it was it was a nice car, wasn't it? I forgot.
It was like a mediocre car, like a Camry or Volvo or something.
Yeah. And yeah. Yeah, you're there. I mean,
And so what time is it?
probably 3, 4 a.m. You look at the phone. I'll say it's 3:30. There we go. We'll meet in the middle. 3:30.
She'll text Siegfried, and say like, waiting at the car. Where are you?
Okay.
I don't know if he has service in the tunnels.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think he'd have service.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
The three of you in the sewer, you reach this kind of opening, this almost kind of like joining point where a number of tunnels meet one place, and you see that there's colossal amounts of water pouring from a huge tube above you, churning shall we say, all of the shit, basically all of the shit in this big pool, and you can see that a rushing torrent heads sort of sloping down towards an opening where you can almost smell the running water of the Thames beyond the overpowering stench of the sewer. The rat is just sat there by the opening, just looking expectantly at you.
Very good. I like look at the rat, and then I look at Tuff and see how injured he is, and I'll just like gesture my head in the rat's direction.
You're fucking kidding me, right? I'm good.
What's the big deal? You don't look good.
I'm good.
Blood is blood.
The searing hot ammunition that hit you is still pretty painful, Tough.
Yep, it is. Toph's like, nope, ain't doing a rat. He has a reason for it, but he's not telling these noobs.
Suit yourself. And I'll like look at the ladder and be like, this is us.
Yeah, so you can see there's a way you can get out if you just broke the grate, you'd be able to get out. But sadly, that does mean going into the Thames, which no one wants to do.
I wonder if we could go back maybe one grate and go up that way. Street maybe running parallel with the river. And actually, Toph will say that. He goes, I don't feel like swimming tonight. I've already been through enough shit.
Do you need to breathe? Have you swum before, Tough, in your current state?
He reaches in his back pocket. He pulls out this phone, and I imagine the screen's all cracked. And he goes, all right. And he stuffs the phone back in his pocket. And he goes, I guess we're going swimming. And he kicked, and he would, that was it up or out?
Well, as you're thinking that, there's a as Siegfried, you get a text. It's Tess. It just says, I'm in the car.
Yeah, Siegfried pulls the phone out and like looks at the screen. His eyes just kind of twist at the sight of it, and without saying anything, he just turns the screen, the light, just like imagine beaming in the pure darkness, and just shows the other two the text.
And Tess, you get that thing where you look at your phone and someone's read the text, but they don't respond to you.
Toph would say when he sees the text, he would just look at the other two and smile in this kind of like very smart ass kind of way and say, see, told you she was fine. Let's go.
My phone is in a little better condition than yours, Toph. I'd rather not lose it, especially when we need to keep in contact with Tess. Maybe swimming is not a great idea.
So if it's agreed then that you're going to find somewhere else to get out, I'm not going to say, oh, it'd be too difficult. There are plenty of manholes that you'll be able to escape from. So,
yeah. In the meantime, Siegfried would reply to the text message, just like keeping it pretty short. Just say, we went out the sewers. Just try to get away.
Lloyd, do me a favor and roll me a d10.
8.
Okay. So, you move what you estimate to be a couple of streets back, still a good distance away from the hospital. You find that there are these iron cast sort of rungs that you can climb up to reach a manhole. On peeking, you can see that you're actually on one of the boulevards. They're slightly away from the riverbanks. But there doesn't appear to be, anyone out there. Oh, I've just been informed there's a and there's another text that says need a lift. You're just going to share the street name?
No.
Would there be like a notable, like a really notable landmark nearby? Something that like you could just say for anything, just like, oh, just meet us close to X building or whatever near this area.
The nearest London landmark that you would be is actually on your art, Jeff. You look up and you see Big Ben across its face, still daubed in those red letters, Ripper.
Don't give any location, Donica says. We can walk. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Tell her that we'll meet her in the place.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So, Tess, you received a text saying to meet at, by place, do you mean...
It just says the
Siegfried's
place,
house?
I think, right? We don't want to be specific.
But what is the place?
Tess would read that, and she would instantly recognize Donica's paranoia in the words. And to herself, she mutters, "Okay, now to see if I can get back to Siegfried's." And she'll see if she can navigate her way back across London.
And what I'll say is that you notice there is continual sirens blaring, police cars basically converging on the spot a couple of streets away from you.
Can I make a particular check to be sure there's no car following me?
You can.
I don't think there would be, but Donica's paranoia is rubbing off on Tess a little bit.
Yep, that's alertness.
When she feels him being intentionally vague.
Alertness and perception, then, please. Believe that's the right combination. Tell me how many successes you get.
2 successes.
As far as you're aware, you're fine.
She'll take, as direct a route as she can remember, but it probably meanders a bit as she misses turns and takes the wrong exit off the roundabout and such.
Yeah, and it doesn't take you long. In fact, Siegfried's house isn't actually too far at all. Near the West End, as I recall. And Donica, Siegfried, Toff, is there anything you want to do whilst you walk back to Siegfried's? Anything you want to say or do?
So is it a fairly long walk for us?
Not actually. Like, it'll take you like an hour and a half, which for walking across London isn't actually that bad.
Maybe
Probably an hour. Probably an hour, I'd say.
No.
Well, Tess, you arrive first. The blessings of vehicular transport, and you don't have a key.
Tess, by habit, kind of walks up to the door and tries it, and then remembers that, of course, she would have beaten them there if they were walking.
Unless Siegfried's the type to leave his door open.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. So she'll go and she'll just sit in the car. She's still got the blanket wrapped around her. Every now and then she'll lick a finger and try and heal up some of the gaping wounds, and she's pulling the shirt together, and it's an absolute mess. But just kind of waits.
Yeah,
anxiously.
You can feel this really awkward feeling as a now mashed bullet is ever so slowly starting to push its way out of the wound. Your body is rejecting it. That'll take some time, and it isn't pleasant. The same for all of you who got shot, in fairness, Donica and Toff. Same thing. But it isn't long before you are standing outside Siegfried's house and you spot Tess's car. And you are reunited. What do you do?
So is it? So it must be getting pretty early in the morning at this point.
Yeah, around 4:30, 4:45 in the morning.
Toff would kind of reach back into his back pocket. He would pull out that shattered phone, Is it still working or is it totally unfunctioning, Rob?
Yeah, it's working, but like, it's a touch screen, so like when you press on the cracks, like you have to be really firm.
Right. So he does that for a few minutes, and then he just is like, "Fuck it," and he just shoves the phone back in his denim jean pocket, and he looks at the others and he says, "You three gonna be okay? Or are you two gonna be okay?" I guess was where else are we all inside now?
It's up to you. I mean, if you just want to have a conversation in the street.
Yeah, no. See, I'm thinking you wouldn't want to have a conversation in the
I
street.
imagine that we've
Yeah,
moved.
okay.
At the very least, we're like entering in while this is happening.
Yeah.
I think you all probably just stand in the hall, you close the door, and you just stood there. You don't even bother going into a different room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once the door inside, Siegfried just like stands there, like basically shell shocked. Like he has finally like the adrenaline has stopped, and like it's like he just got out of a war zone. Like he's just stood there, like just blank face, like 1,000-yard stare.
I'm sorry that didn't work.
They knew what we were.
Yep.
They had something, and she's like rubbing her arm. She's like, it burned from the sprinklers.
Holy water.
He had like a hook and a stake. He tried to stake me.
That someone ratted us out. They wouldn't send those people for no reason. They must have known we were there.
Donica, you're a smart guy, right?
Uh,
You seem to be.
What did you guys do in that room?
we
You
Don't
didn't
talk
know
about
you
it.
were there. Where were you, anyways?
I was watching to make sure nobody came, like I said I would. And the next thing I know, you guys are firing. People are dead. He just like trails off, stops, and like returns back to like the state of like complete stun.
Better we don't tell you what happened in that room. I wouldn't want to hurt your delicacies.
There's that awkward
Under
silence,
all to
and
that.
yeah, Tess like sort of looks at Siegfried, but then has a hard time maintaining eye contact.
I think Toph would walk up to you, Tess, and he'd like just kind of stand there. There'd be like those awkward seconds where he's kind of looking you over, checking you out. Maybe at first it's uncomfortable because maybe you thinking he's checking you out for the wrong reason, and he goes, "No, no worse for wear. Did all right. You take care of that one."
No
Actually,
worse for
he
wear?
wouldn't know that.
No worse for the wear? Are you fucking insane? I got shot. First by him, and she points at Donica. Thanks for that.
it seemed like a good idea.
It might have been. It didn't end up being, but no, yes, I am worse for the wear.
Toph is gonna test your head in both of his hands, and he kind of levels it so we're looking eye to eye, but it's uncomfortably close. And he's looking at you, and you see like a softness in his eyes that you haven't seen before. And he says, "You did good. That's all you got to know." He shakes his head as he lets go of you, and he looks at the others. He goes, "Winchester. Never heard of them before. I'm gonna have to talk." Oh shit.
All of you with still functioning phones get a text at the same time.
Toph reaches down in his pocket, and you see him just trying to read his cracked screen.
Once again, you are getting used to the fact that you're losing your humanity, Donica, but also phone withdrawal. It's just not doing well with you at all. But the rest of you receive a text which reads thusly in the chat. You see an address. 32 London Bridge Street, London, SE1 9SG. Beneath it, it says PM sharp. G. And feel free to Google that address if you like. This is the benefit of playing online and being in the modern world. You can actually Google that address if you like to see what it is.
We could be walking into an ambush here. Somebody told them that there was vampires there. What if it's Mr. G?
Maybe they're right. Maybe our kind shouldn't be here. What if it is an ambush?
And as you're looking at it, there is obviously one prominent feature at this particular address. Did you get it? Did you see what it is?
It's the skyscraper.
Yeah, a picture of the Shard. One of the tallest buildings in Europe. It juts into the London skyline. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Siegfried just kind of listening to them say these. Just I mean, we saw what he did to that other man when we woke up. If we don't go, if he does that to us,
Tough. This text means something a little different to you. You have spent years as an active vampire in London, and you know the significance of that address. Publicly, yes, it is known as the Shard. But to those of you in the know, it has a different name. Ventru Tower. Primary headquarters of the Camarilla.
Yeah, that's why Tophs kind of steps away from the others as they're talking. And he's sending his own, he's kind of feverishly sending this text, and he's sending it to Sid. And it's just really simple. It says, "What the fuck? Who the hell is Mr. G, and why am I going there?" That's all it says. And he sends it.
Yeah, you didn't get a reply instantly, so you'll have to wait a little bit. What are your thoughts?
I think he would probably hear the last bit of that conversation as he's sending the text, and the part that he turns around and just says, "What did he do?"
what are you talking about?
You said you guys were afraid that he's going to do to you like he did to that other man. What did he do to him?
When we first woke up like this, he killed a vampire in front of us.
Out of nowhere, whatever piece of Siegfried's furniture is closest to Toph, he just smashes it in a bout of utter rage. He did what?
I imagine the reaction that everybody would be expecting from Sig of pride doesn't, like, he's just so like bewildered by everything that he just basically just stands there and watches.
Destroy your own place, Toph.
I have to go. And Toph would start walking out of the apartment, and as he's kind of at the door, he would say, "Make sure you guys get your rest. I don't think we're fucking done." And he would walk, and he would start heading back to his own place.
Yeah, you know you'll be pushing it, but you'll just be able to get back to Camden in time, I think.
He probably would take a cab if he can
Sure.
find one. He probably could find one a lot better here than he can there.
Definitely. So the three of you left.
I'm gonna hunt down a phone
Cool.
charger.
Only a couple hours till dawn. Less, maybe.
I imagine Siegfried would probably know this. That might. I don't know what would be open at 4:30 in the morning. Knew of any places that would, even if it was just like a gas station would usually have a phone charger, he would tell him the nearest place.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. Those would be open, so you could definitely go to a station if you wanted, Lloyd.
Yeah, I need to charge the phone. It's really important. He would like look at the rest of them and say, "I'm going to go buy a phone charger and maybe some clothing." He's been wearing the same clothes since he died. Like he has this guard's clothes, but he can't really wear those around. And he probably like is not the same size as Siegfried. Do you want anything from the shop?
Cornetto.
Tess kind of shuffles her feet and, can you get me a chocolate? I know
Of
I can't
course.
really eat them, but I at least gotta try.
All right, Siegfried, anything?
No, thanks.
Don't panic while I'm gone. We'll be fine. They must know that sending 3 brand new people to take an assassination is insane. It must have been a test, and maybe we failed, but that's their fault, not ours.
And oh,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead,
you're
Jack.
probably right. Yeah, you're probably right, he says in the least convincing voice you've ever heard.
Like, put yourself in their frame of mind. If you're like this clandestine sort of military organization, why would you send 3 complete beginners to take care of such a sensitive mission? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So it must have been a test, or they wanted it to be a big deal. One or the other.
Yeah. You're trying to think about the logic, and it seems that that must be the only explanation. But as heart-pounding action turns to questions of what do you want from the shop, we're going to go and we're going to skip the day. The sun rises high and it falls. We see clouds moving at accelerated speed. news broadcasts of a catastrophe that occurred on the top floor of the UCL. Donica, you're awoken by your now charged phone. You somehow managed to plug it in and then trail the cord so it's inside the cupboard with you where you slept last time. You wake up and you open your eyes and you see that there's a news alert that's popped up on your phone as it now works now. And let me just bring up that news alert for you. So the news alert says, and there's a huge headline that says, Edward Smythe dead. And then beneath it says, due to unknown causes after posting a frenzy of conspiracy theories, ranging from believing in Bigfoot to an imminent alien invasion and everything in between. The 46-year-old columnist of the Daily Mail leaves behind his wife and 2 children, and so on and so forth. Talking about the mystery of him being the only named person at the moment declared dead at the incident. More news following.
So there's no mention of like the shootout or like the chaos that was happening around the. It's just that he's dead.
The dead nurses.
There is a hint to a violent incident that occurred in the hospital, but what?
Right.
You note that there is no mention of gunfire. You note that there is no mention of how many people have died, just that there have been fatalities. There isn't a number. There is like need to know basis at this at the moment because it seems like the crisis isn't entirely contained. That's what the news is letting on anyway.
Yep, that's what I would do if I was them. Keep it quiet. He probably sees like another 100 text messages from his wife, and like really struggles not to send a text for like a long time. He like wakes up and he's just like looking at them, and they're all just like desperate. And then he has to like put the phone away and like put his hands away from it to avoid sending a text.
Yeah. Tess, did you sleep in the bath again?
Yeah, barring a better option, she probably did.
Okay. Look at your phone and you see that it's about 6 p.m. It's dark outside. It's winter, by the way. I remind you, it's winter, so it gets dark very quickly over here.
Yeah, I think Tess, she's still just kind of stunned, processing everything that happened. She didn't know she could feel anymore, and just worried and unhappy and scared. And she can't figure out what's going on and if she's okay with it. But she'll crawl out of the bathtub and see if she can find Siegfried and Donica, see if they're awake.
And at last, Siegfried, I guess you slept in your room, right? But you did something to the blinds or something, didn't you? You basically sealed the room off. Yeah, you wake up too. What's going through your mind as you wake up?
Yeah, there's like this complete flood of so many emotions. Like he rolls out of bed and he almost like instinctively goes to like walk over towards his speakers where he would normally like do like his normal morning warm-ups that he would do before. But like then suddenly like the habit breaks as he remembers what and where and why and how of the everything that's happened. And he just like stops and just like stares at it blankly for a while. And eventually he tries to shake himself from the haze and go out into the main room. just almost a blank expression. Someone who's like in so much of a state of frenzy that there's not enough like physical energy left to portray it.
And there's only one thing that snaps you out of these myriads of thoughts that are going through your mind. One thing alone. You were all together in the living room, I'll say, having woken up. It's about 6:30 now. What do you want to do? We'll get to you in a moment, Toff.
So I imagine that like probably no one has even said anything yet. Like everyone's just kind of sitting, but Siegfried would just break the silence, just nearly broken, would just say, I don't want to do this.
What? Do what? Eat? Meet Mr. Gisborne?
In any of it. People are dead. Are we just going to gloss over that? Are we not going to talk about it?
I think Donica and I are
People are
fully
dead because of
aware.
us.
I am fully aware of that, Siegfried.
We are dead. You need to reshift your understanding of what you are, because you're not a person anymore. Something else. I spoke with a rat yesterday. I can go invisible, and I have drank human blood in the last 2 days. I can lift a car. You're not you anymore. You're something else. You're a predator. You're the apex predator of all of the predators that there are. And you eat people. People will die. You're like an action hero.
I don't feel like an action hero.
You've played a video game before, right? And you've killed people there. Well, not people, but you've still gone through those same things. It's just
Not the same thing.
Look, Siegfried, you can stay in and sulk, or you can walk out into the sunlight. Do whatever you want. But we have to do something. I'm going out. And she's gonna grab like a phone purse and walk out the door.
look. It seems to me that this thing we're in now, it's like a mafia or something, right? It's like organized crime. And we are at the shitty bottom rung of it, and so we have to do the shitty wet work. Because it doesn't matter if we get caught to them, we don't matter yet. But I'm sure somewhere down the road we'll be separate from that. And we'll have our own people to do that if we want them to, or not. But it seems clear to me that we're in no position not to go meet this Mr. Gisborne, that we're in no position to not do what we're told. And it seems to me that if you are what we are in this city, you can't do it without being associated with these people. Like, they know where we are all the time. They know what we're doing. So we just have to toe the line and do what we're told until, I don't know.
I know. We have to go. Just seems like you guys are adjusting awful quickly to being.
At the word monster,
I wish it were that easier for me.
yeah, as Siegfried is finishing his sentence, Donica, you sense something which is peculiar because as a human being you would not possess this sense. It's like you hear someone takes an intake of breath. You sense something has awoken in the heart of the city. A peculiar feeling.
Just me?
Just you. And with that, we're going to cut across to Camden. Toff, explain to us what your home is like, please.
All right. So it's better if you just think of what Siegfried's home looked like before Toff, and it looks anything but that. It's this basement apartment. It has like 2 windows that he's just painted black. Toff's idea of decoration is graffiti, just kind of painted across the walls. There's all these like fluorescent lights, uncovered. The place is just trashed. There's like liquor bottles from where he's had people over, drugs, just trash is just kind of overflowing from this receptacle. The bathroom, it doesn't look like it's been cleaned in a long time, and it smells like it. So he just kind of just gets up out of this bed that's just like just a mattress on the floor. And he kind of just sits up and kind of just rubs his forehead and his temples. He reaches over and kind of grabs his phone, looks at the shattered screen, seeing if Sid had texted him back.
And he has.
All right.
Let me just quickly bring something up.
The hell do you have to say, Sid? Tell me I don't have to go with those fucks no more.
So you see that Sid has replied to your message. And it says, "Little bird tells me that you got yourself into one hell of a situation. Once you're done at Venture Tower, as I hear you have an appointment, be sure to swing by. Usual place. I want to hear you have a new friend, a Noz."
And very eloquently, Toph writes back, "Yeah." And then he gets up and looks at his jacket that is just ripped with 4 new bullet holes. Well, actually 4 bullet holes. He's never had bullet holes in it before. He kind of looks at it, weighs whether or not he's going to throw it on or not. He throws it on anyways. And then he walks out of his apartment, doesn't bother locking the door. It's probably been kicked in 3 or 4 times anyways, so it wouldn't lock even if he wanted to. And he doesn't have anything worth stealing. Actually, that's not true. Probably the one thing someone, if they spent enough time looking and through his apartment, they would find on this kind of this unused bookshelf, on the bottom shelf, kind of behind this pile of dirty laundry, is this pristine violin case. Something he's kept from before he was embraced, and he still keeps it. He doesn't know why he keeps it. He's several times now he's thought about selling it or just getting rid of it because it's that painful memory of who he was, but it isn't. So that's probably the only thing worth stealing. But he leaves, and the one thing he would do is he probably would hit this dive before he would go anywhere. And what he's doing, he's looking what these guys should be doing, and he's hoping that's what they're doing, is they're hunting. Because a vampire's not shit if he doesn't feed upon the living. So that's what he does. He goes into one of the sleaziest bars that he knows. And unlike it's probably better Siegfried's not there, because he looks for the drunkest or the most strung out person that he can find. And that's who he saddles up next to.
Yeah, and as you bare your teeth and you're ready to sink in and begin drinking, once you've had your fill, you get a response from Sid, and it simply says, Faig's interested in meeting him. Drop by down street as well. And is that we'll cut to we'll cut to Tess, because Tess went out, didn't she? Tess, what are you doing? And what we'll do is we'll just say how we're spending the time leading up till 10 p.m. because I'm assuming you'll, well, it's up to you if you go or not. So consider that. But Tess, what are you up to in these hours?
Tess is going to attempt to hunt. She's not entirely sure what she's doing, but she's been to a few clubs, a few bars. She knows there's always somebody sitting in a corner where it's dark, alone. She's going to see if she can find a place where it's busy enough that no one would notice her. No one would notice a couple in the corner.
I think actually you would have received a text, and it would be from Tough, inviting you to Underworld, which is a bar that, when it gets later, turns into a nightclub in the basement beneath.
She'd go, not really having a lot of better ideas. And just start walking. And she's at least moderately dressed for it. You know, she put on a short skirt and heels, so counts for something.
Sure. Yeah, a few tube trips away. So in that case, we'll go back to you guys in a moment then. Donica and Siegfried, what are you up to in the hours leading up to 10 p.m.?
I think they've probably had an argument about what he's going to do. And Donica would just say, I have to eat. If you don't want to, that's up to you, but I have to. If you hate this so much, walk in the sun. I don't know what else you can do. They have us over a barrel. We don't have a choice. And I have to eat. So you can come with me, or you cannot.
Yeah, Siegfried is taken aback by the just the blatant harshness of it. Not quite expecting it. Eventually, the indignation breaks. Go.
So quickly tell me where you guys are going to hunt. Just in the streets.
The cinema.
Okay. All right, so
Actually, not the nice kind of cinema, like the gross kind of cinema where there's nobody really there. You know what I mean? Those like gross, dank
like
places.
the grungy dollar cinemas. Yeah.
Yes.
So you actually see that there is somehow it's escaped the ravages of time, but this cinema, You recognize it as it used to be renowned as an adult cinema when they used to exist before the internet, shall we just say. Now it's just like this grunge hole. Some films play, some music is often played here as well, but it's not a good kind. And you're able to pick your targets without error or difficulty. It's surprising to you how easy this is starting to become for you. Tess, you walk into Underworld. By this point, it's probably around 8 o'clock. All this traveling and walking around and stuff. So 2 hours to go. You walk in and you see Toff. What happens? What do you guys do?
So I think what you would see, Tess, as you come in is it's one of those things where Toff's sitting, and it's like a classic movie scene where like this guy and this girl on either side of him, and he's kind of just sitting closely, like uncomfortably close to both of them. And as you're coming in, he's actually like, you see him kissing the girl, and then you see him nuzzle her neck, but you know what he's doing when he does it, and you see his tongue lick across it. And as you're kind of approaching, that's when he turns over to the guy and he does the exact same thing with the guy before he notices you.
Tessa's jaw kind of drops at this. Just, it seems to her so blatant, and that you're so relaxed. And she stares at you and comes and sits down, probably on the side with the guy. Can you teach me that?
Oh, hey, let me see. Stephanie, Bill, this is my friend I was telling you about. Tess, Stephanie, Bill.
So Bill and Stephanie appear to be in this really kind of strange state, and Bill kind of just looks at you sort of vacantly. But being British, some things run deeper than our consciousness, and is very polite still. And says, "Pleased to meet you," in a dead voice, and shakes your hand.
She shakes his hand and looks at Toph. How long are they like this?
Not long. Give Bill a proper greeting. You're friends, right? And he gives her a wink.
Oh, okay. And it is like watching a 14-year-old try and kiss for the first time. She's like all elbows in the wrong spot, and like it's painfully awkward. But eventually she like sort of gets an arm draped around him. She goes, I just do it. She's kind of like looking past his head at you. Like, just
You see Toffee's kind of looking at you, and he's just like, "You're not gonna get an invitation, love."
She like tentatively kind of like tries to mimic Toph's actions, like nuzzle the neck and a little kiss, and then she kind of holds her breath and bites.
It's strange because someone at the bar just gives Toff a nod as if nothing's happening at all. And so the evening continues, but you don't have much time Who's going to that address? Toff is. Siegfried. Donica. Tess. Yes, I'm assuming. I can't see your face.
I am.
So, Toff, Tess, you make your way there together. Siegfried, Donica, up to you. But you all sort of meet at the same point. Don't know if you see much of the shard, but there's sort of like an open walkway before you reach it. And you see it glistening with the reflection of all of the city lights. This vast spire reaching into the darkness. Toff, you understand this to be a masterwork of invention. The mirrored windows act as a block to any danger that the sun possesses, meaning 24/7 vampiric activity within this building. Now,
So one of
Sorry.
the things Toph would do on the way over is he would explain all of that to Tess. So before we get there, she would kind of know what is at the shard. So she's not going to be too shocked by it.
okay. So is there anything you want to say to each other, anything you want to plan or do before you go in?
Tough, have you talked to these people before?
I try not to, man.
What do you mean you try not to? Can you not?
No,
But they're Ventrue like me, right?
I don't hold that against you, Tess. Too young. You don't know.
Whoa, stop. You don't have to talk to them?
You do when they tell you to.
You don't have to, like, work for them like we do.
No, you do. Everybody works for the freaking Camarilla. Fucking lord over us like they're fucking better. And he probably goes into this kind of his tirade for a couple of minutes where he's just talking about, the man and oppressing vampires. Go fuck
Tess,
themselves.
put her hand on his arm because she heard it at least once, maybe twice already.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing that's probably pretty important is you would probably notice that Toph is acting almost like he's intoxicated, like he was got a buzz on.
So listen, it's clear to me that you don't like these people. Maybe you should not talk when we're there.
No arguments for me, man. He should. And pretty boy there, the one that doesn't like to get his hands dirty.
Me? What? Why me? Whatever. Fine. Let's just get this over with.
So as we're like moving our way there or walking, whatever, I would Donica would try and fall back with Toph because he wants to find out more about this this other life that Toph seems to live where he doesn't have to deal with the Camarilla. He's interested in that. And he would say, so you don't have to report to these guys all the time, and you say you don't talk to them unless you have to.
Nope.
Are they like the mafia or something?
Worse.
So you can just do your own shit and they don't bother you unless you fuck up.
Right. Just gotta follow the rules. Follow the masquerade.
Oh yeah, no, he mentioned that. Yep. Okay, well, maybe when this is done, we can step away from these people and have less to do with them.
Yeah. Oh, this meeting goes well. Someone I want you to meet. Don't tell the others though. Not yet. And he would give you kind of this nod.
All right.
So you continue to approach the shard and you see the huge opening, the walkway. And you see this giant atrium at the foot of the tower. And standing directly in front of the door is a figure that you recognize. Peroxide blonde hair, immaculate black suit. Mr. Gisborne. And as you arrive, he opens his arms wide and he says, "You made it. It is pleasing to see you once again, young ones."
I'd like to have a word, Mr. Gisborne, if you don't mind. Maybe somewhere less. And he looks around at the huge atrium.
There will be time for such things. The consort of the prince is waiting for you. Follow me. And to everyone else, that doesn't mean anything, but to you, Toph, that does. The consort is a vampire that you would have heard of. Her name's Anne, formerly known as Queen Anne. Awarded that name for ruling in the absence of the prince, Prince Mithrilus. And the fact that you're going to see a particularly prominent vampire within the Camarilla is setting alarm bells in your mind. This isn't what you're used to.
Yeah, the others would he probably wasn't expecting that. And upon hearing that, the others would probably see Toph. He's pretty laid back usually, kind of just like let stuff kind of roll off his back. But they would visibly see him. He has like some color to his face. What color he has probably bleaches a little bit and he stiffens up, straightens up a little bit. And you see him kind of look down at his outfit and, it's similar to the one he was wearing the other night. Just a clean shirt, clean trousers, but the same Doc Martens and leather coat with full bullet holes in it. And he kind of looks down at it, takes the jacket off, folds it over his arm, and he kind of does a thing with his hair. Play this cool, guys. Just play this cool. And yeah, they would probably pick up that he's nervous.
Mr. Gisborne enters an elevator at the far end of the atrium and waits for you all to get him. And he takes a key from his jacket and puts it into a keyhole that's above all the buttons. There's that. And with that, the elevator begins to ascend to a floor not present on the ordinary buttons. You don't know how long passes, but eventually, bing! You are very, very high up in the tower. Mr. Gisborne looks around and he almost politely smiles to you and says, "We mustn't keep her waiting. Chop, chop." He leads you down this hallway that is completely sort of surrounded by this shimmering glass, and you can see London and all of its beauty in the night. Those reflections glinting from the Thames. And you reach a set of tall sort of doors, pine, and he pushes them open, and before you see this huge, spacious office. In fact, it's probably an insult to call it an office. But there is a large desk before a vast window. And there is also a boardroom table. Almost. It has strange carvings and patterns inlaid into it, each with velvet chairs. There are a number of portraits that hang on the wall, one in particular of a particularly powerful looking man. Almost looks like a medieval painting. basic, but no less splendid for its size. You spot all kinds of different treasures and antiques and memorabilia from over the years. This place screams affluence, the 1%. You are above all others as you step into this place. And an incredibly beautiful woman turns around. She wears a sort of business suit and skirt, tall heels, hair tied back into a tight bun, with red lipstick and glasses upon her face, and she looks over as you enter. And she says, you're the ones who I've heard so much about. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. Okay.
I think this just got really bad all of a sudden, guys. Just saying.
So I really enjoyed that. That was really fun, guys. I always have to remember to end early because we have to do the XP. We have to all share in going around and talking about why we do it. So it's not quite over yet. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring it up. I actually copied it down into my document, so I have it right here. And we're going to take it in turns to say who did what. If I remember where I posted it, that's really annoying. I did have it. That's really annoying. Oh, here we go. Okay, so XP. So we're going to go around and we'll do one each, and then we'll keep going around. So we'll begin with Lionel. Sorry, all of you. Obviously, get an automatic point for showing up. So you get 1 point for that. Lionel, we'll start with you. Learning curve. What did Toff learn? And we can all talk about this. What did Toff learn in his experiences in this session?
That is such a great question. So, learning curve for Toff this session was always go with your gut. Don't rely on somebody else. That was a learning curve. If he would have done what he originally thought, never would have got shot. Now, Tess might not have made it, but he would have gotten through maybe a little bit unscathed. Well, he thinks, well, let's face it, Toff thinks he would have gotten through unscathed if he had just done what he was planning on doing. So I think that'd be the learning curve is trust your gut. Don't listen to what sounds like a good idea if it doesn't feel right.
Definitely. And do any of you have anything else to add? What you think Toff might have learned from your perspective, guys? Anything you'd like to add?
That we're pretty capable. That was like something he noticed, right? That we
yes, he did.
We're like pretty adept at using our powers and stuff. He wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, he was surprised that people who have been sides and able to get to grips with their talents so quickly. Yeah, that is interesting, and hopefully something that you will make note of. Pardon me. So, learning curve for Siegfried.
He's learning so and more brutal. Get a choice. Like he wants so to just keep being just a person.
You're going very robot-y, Jeff.
Is that better?
You there, mate?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah, I don't think we heard what you said, Jeff.
Can you
Try turn the camera off, maybe? Can you guys hear him? Is it just me?
No, can't hear him.
You there, Jeff? Okay, we'll come back to Jeff. I'll let him know just in case he can't hear us. We'll come back to about your learning curve in a bit. Yes, Taylor. Taylor?
Sorry, I'm on mute.
I'm like, what's going on? It's going crazy. What do you think was Tess's learning curve today?
I think one of the big ones was just Winchester. Whatever that is, but mostly that it's dangerous, extraordinarily dangerous. And then kind of secondarily, a little cutscene on learning feeding techniques from Toph.
Yeah, that was great. That was really cool. I like that bit as well. Yeah, you learned an awful lot. I'd say holy water might have been another one. Luckily, you got out there quickly because that gets rapidly worse. But yeah, anything else that you guys would like to add about Tess and her learning curve?
I think she's learning to be. I thought she was really self-sufficient because when Toph bailed on her, she had to figure it out on her own, and she didn't. Taylor, you quickly moved from one thing to another, and once you realized I'm out of my depth here, you didn't think twice to bail, and you just embraced the fact that you're a vampire. You didn't think human. You didn't say, "Oh, I have to run down these stairs." You said, "I'm a vampire. I can go down a different way." And so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think overall we all learned that gravity is our ally. Jeff, are you back, my man?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, perfect, mate. Thank you. Sorry about that. We couldn't all hear you. So learning curve.
Yeah, it was still hear you guys and see you guys, but it wasn't going through on my end.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I think Siegfried's learning that he's just gonna have to keep trying to be the person that he was and expect it to be okay. It has to. Like he's to ever learn about being human and what to throw away. Kind of needs to just not yes and force himself to adapt.
Yeah, man. I think
Particularly if you don't want to do kind of.
yeah, he's still a bit crackly, mate. But I got what you said. Maybe try like turning just to audio, maybe just for the moment. But I agree, and I think what the good thing is, and this will come into your role playing point, but the Toreador, they're the ones that cling on to the humanity the most. So I really like that you're doing that, man. Does anyone else think that? Was there anything else that Siegfried learned that you guys think he went through?
Yeah, I think the conversation with him and Donica was interesting. Just like because it's more of the same though. Just like you can't be a person anymore. Like you just can't do it, which I think is huge.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Donica, what did you learn?
It's like Grim, but he learned that he can survive on his own, no hassle, basically everywhere. Like he didn't have trouble getting out of there, and wouldn't have had trouble getting out of there on his own. He did have trouble getting the rest of them out, because people don't notice him. He can kind of go invisible. He can just make his way quietly out. So I guess he's like realizing that although he is like cursed in a very major way, he's also like blessed in maybe a more powerful way, you know? because super strength and super speed is good, but also like being invisible is probably the best, you know?
Yeah.
Like having people not notice you and be able to blend in and stuff, like that's really, really powerful. So I think he's realizing that on his own, it's easier. I guess also he realized that like in the same sort of vein, that like his powers are pretty pretty mental. Like he can talk to animals, you know? It's another thing that he realized.
That was my point. He could talk to rats.
Yep. And then the third thing I think is that he's like is working hard on like rationalizing the shitty things he has to do, you know? He's like working really hard to like make that make sense for him. Like he's putting it to himself, like he doesn't have an option to disobey or to like not do the thing that he's being told to do, you know?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Anyone else have anything to add? To be fair, you're quite succinct there, Lloyd. You got it all.
Yeah, I think he's getting a really good understanding for how everyone else has to play by the rules and how they're
Yeah.
different for him. And that's interesting, is that he's coming up with ideas that work for other people because he's able to observe it with maybe a more objective perspective.
Absolutely. Okay, and now it's time for us to say who, you know, the role-playing moment of the game, or I've decided role-playing / cool moment of the game for each character. So who wants to say what they think Tess's cool moment of the game is, or role-playing moment of the game is?
So my
I
favorite,
mean, like, definitely cool was like fighting the badass Inquisitor dude by herself and getting out without getting wrecked was like pretty amazing. Like that guy was like by far the most capable thing that we've seen a million miles. It's like seeing her go against something like that and still, you know, not stomp him, but make it was pretty cool, at least.
Yeah, he's pretty badass, and a genuine threat that you managed to escape from. Lloyd, what were you going to say?
Can I have some chocolate was my favorite. I think that's like the most human that anyone's been, or like the most normal, you know? Like it's like the natural sort of comfort food, or like a thing that you would go to when you're having a stressful time. I thought that was really like, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I think I love that moment too. But another moment before that one that I really liked is when right after Donica shot her and told her to lay down and play dead, and she literally was kind of like, I could see Tess and Taylor, you role played it perfect. You're like, okay, just lay down, close my eyes, stop moving, stop pretending to breathe, because she was doing all those things before because she realized she wasn't. So I thought that was a pretty good moment. Not actually, I mean, I thought it was all pretty great, but that was a pretty good moment for me, I thought.
Yeah, that was great. So for everyone, Siegfried, what was Siegfried's standout moment? And we'll, jump in.
I'll jump in first. Sewer. When Jeff said that Siegfried grabbed his shirt and pulled it up, I mean, that was such a great moment because that's old Siegfried. I mean, yeah, it didn't smell great, but I mean, it's him holding on to that humanity piece, kind of like Tess did. I really love that moment. Actually, I put the guy who commented on it in the chat too.
I was imagining him as like this 17th century fop who like takes out a scented handkerchief or something, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Anything to add, Taylor?
Yeah, the bit where he's just like, people died. Are we just gonna ignore that?
That was
yeah, because Tess really wants to ignore it, and I think Toph and Donica are both able to handle the idea of, well, you know, they're just people, they're just humans. We're moving past this now. But Siegfried is balking a bit more, and I really like having that played out.
Yeah, I agree.
I really liked the bite to save my life. That was very uncharacteristic, but like heroic, you know? Like Siegfried wouldn't bite somebody like that. Like Donica wouldn't heartbeat. He'd like smash a head into a wall or whatever, because he's like becoming accustomed to the fact that he's not a person. But Siegfried is definitely still a person, and so to bite that guard and save Donica was like a big deal, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I really, really like that bit. That guy who just thought, screw you, I'm just going to shoot you to avoid the paperwork. Okay, let's talk about Lionel's Toph's cool moments, plural.
Ping, 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 ping. That was great. Just like falling down this, like that's a dead person. You know, there's no way that a person could get through that, but like a vampire can. And it's just that's like where I first kind of thought of the idea that like, oh, you can just fall. You know, you're not going to die.
Yeah. And also, I forgot about the fact that Toph has celerity, so he would perceive that as happening slower as well. I thought that's such a cool image, just seeing the stairs come past him, but really, really slowly, and then just stepping in almost. I love that, man. Anything else to add, guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like incredibly characteristic of him to like Donica shoots both of them, says just lie on the ground, pretend to be dead, and then they're doing that, and then Toph's just like, you know what, actually, never mind. I'm gonna do something else, and just be like, whatever that plan was, good, bad, I don't care. I have an idea, and I'm just gonna do that. Like, and literally drag Tess into it, like call her out, and like, they're like, hey, my sister is also here. Can you see it? Can you help us? Like, I think was very apt of him to do. Just like perfectly represents like what he is to our group.
Yeah, man.
It's like simultaneous like father figure and also like foil to everything that we're trying to do.
Yes.
I personally loved his basement apartment because it is horrific and disgusting and just a mess. And I feel like it perfectly encapsulates Toph.
I'm so glad you said it was a shithole. Like, I had my fingers crossed. I was like, please let it be a shithole. And it was. You didn't disappoint, man. Perfect. And finally, Donica, role-playing / cool moments, please. We'll start with Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, it may be a little self-serving to say, but the conversation with Siegfried, just like Donica, just being like completely unabashedly harsh and straightforward, just like, this is your life, suck it up, or take a trip in the daytime and be done with it. Like, we don't have time to like sit here and woe is me and cry. We just have to do this, and we don't get a choice. There's nothing we get to do about it. We don't get to decide. The only thing that we can decide is to live or to kill yourself, basically. Like, that was, I think, a very powerful, like, not many people would be so direct, like with somebody who's like clearly broken.
I think Donica has like a unique stance on the situation you're in, which really showed in that conversation. Taylor, what do you think?
I'm gonna have to go with just point blank shooting Tess suddenly.
Yep.
As my first one, but also just a little bit where he's like, "No, Siegfried, tell her, meet us at the place." Like,
Yeah.
Donica is paranoid. He is always double checking everything, and that really comes through, even in something that small. Of like, we're not naming it. We're just the place.
Definitely. Lionel.
Well, it's several moments, but they culminated to the rat. The fact that Donica, I mean, I don't know what he did in life, or Toph doesn't know what he did in life, but this is a dude that isn't afraid to take charge and get things done. So that's a good thing. So I really, the role play moment that I really liked was when we were sitting in the sewers and he kind of like can hear all these rats and stuff. And he's like, you know, wait, I think I can do this. And he just tries it and he does. And I love how you role played it out, Lloyd, where you were talking, but what we're hearing is squeaks and whatever kind of noises rats make. And it was great. It was great.
Absolutely. All of those fantastic moments. So all that remains for me to do is to say thank you ever so much for those who watch live and to those of you who are watching after the fact. If you like this video, give it a like. If you'd like to see more like it, then give it a subscribe. Or not, we're all friends here. Or are we? Embrace the night. Take it easy. I hope that all of your performances are up to standard. Broadcast terminated.